Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see you all here. I've promised today, Maya, not to speak for too long. We're on a tight schedule. We have an interesting program, so I would like to say, first of all, thank you very much, Maya, for arranging it, and thank you all for participating. We hope that you have a much better impression and idea of what the Lego education can bring to the classroom after today. The first speaker today is Matej, and he would like to give you the first information of Lego education today. So please give a warm welcome to Matej.
Pozdravljeni še v mojem imenu. Zdaj, glede na to, da se zmajev zmenil, da končamo 9:15, mislim, da lepo vas je bilo videti in gremo naprej. Najkrajši govor do zdaj. Bomo malo skrajšali, samo toliko, da se predstavim. Sem matematik, že kar nekaj časa, 25 let v šolstvu, odkar sem počal fakulteto. Z Lego Educationom oziroma z Majo sodelujemo zdaj že 8-9 let in sodelujem tudi v programu FRL Slovenija in že nekje 10 let za Renko ženo dela v delavnici Lego robotike za učitelje, učence, kakorkoli. Tako da samo toliko na hitro o meni. Zakaj ta konferenca? Osnova, ko smo se z Majo pogovarjali, ko je Maja prišla s to idejo, zakaj bi to delali, je rekla, rada bi pokazala ljudem, da se to v Sloveniji dela in da tisti, ki hočejo začeti delati, imajo možnost dobiti povezavo s tistimi, ki to že delajo. Torej, osnovna ideja zgodbe je, da probamo narediti eno druženje za vse tiste, ki že uporabljate v šolah, ali pa kjerkoli gre to Lego Education Mindstorms orodje, hkrati pa probamo pokazati in povabiti nove ljudi zraven, da vidijo, kako se to uporablja in da v bistvu to lahko začnejo takoj uporabljati. Ker končna ideja, vse zgodbe in v resnici celotna osnova Lego Education filozofije je, to so orodja narejena za učitelje. Orodja narejena za takojšnjo uporabo. Torej, navodila je treba prebrati, kot pri večini stvari, moški tega sicer ne delamo zelo radi, ravno zdaj je kolega kupil novo avto in je rekel, da je bil po 400 metrih že nazaj v servisu, ker navigacija ni delala. Jaz sem seveda najprej napisal, da si prebral navodila, kaj bi odgovoril, jasno, Skratka, ko preberete navodila, ko greste enkrat skozi te stvari, ste pripravljeni na uporabo. Zdaj, za ogrevanje prstov, kljub samo, naše delavnice so vedno vezane na to, da probamo nekaj narediti. V vrečkah, ki ste jih dobili, ene lepe bele vrečke, ste bili ful uporabnih daril. Ampak notri je tudi ena vrečka z Lego kockami. 6 rumenih, rdečih kocke, na slikih imate, vaša naloga je, da jih odprete, strgate in iz njih sestavite raso. Imate točno še 1 minuto, ker pol je konec mojega časa, Maja. Lahko še 2 minuti, imam še. Skratka, odprite vrečke, a slišite to šuštenje, to je ono najlepše, nove Lego kocke. Sestavite raso, Peter mi je že povedal, da se ne smem preveč premikati, jaz zelo težko stojim na mestu, hiperaktivnost, so rekli v svojih časih. Sestavite raco in jo dajte pred sebe, na polje pred sabo. Zdaj pa, ozrite se naokoli po vaši vrsti, zdaj pa lahko tudi ustanete, pa pogledate, kaj so naredili oni pred vami, pa pogledajte, kaj so naredili oni za vami. Tam vidim enega krilatega konja. Če dobro pogledate, ne boste verjeli, ampak celo kakšne enake se najdejo. Zdaj, jaz kot pravi matematik bi mogel seveda postaviti izjemno pomembno vprašanje v tem trenutku, na koliko različnih načinov te kocke lahko sestavimo. Ampak glede na to, da se moramo tle malo umakniti od naših korenin, bom sam pogledal in rekel, poglejte naokoli, vse te račke bomo zbrali in pol na koncu slikali, če bo čas, bomo videli, bo časna ideja med odmorom, ampak poanta zgodbe je, nobena ni napačna. Vse so pravilne in tisto, kar ste, tako kot vi vidite raco, ste jo naredili. Ja, točno to, odlično. Vse so pravilne. Zakaj? Ker to je za vas raca. Sicer Natalija je zakomplicirala, ker je dala dve rdeči toliko močno skupaj, da bomo težko dali na razen, ne? Ampak, dobro, imaš unik pomoček. Skratka, že to je en zanimiv razvoj dogodkov, ne? Imamo 100, na brzino sem naštel, dajmo reči, da se tukaj notri 125, 12 pa krat 2, 10 vrst, 120 nekje, ne, plus minus. Tukaj imamo, dajmo reči, 100 različnih rac, ki so vse pravilne. Skratka, v šoli ni vedno lahko dobiti 100 pravilnih odgovorov 100 učencev, ne. Tukaj vidite, kako domišljija lahko nekam pripelje in kako lahko dobite v bistvu pravilne stvari. Zdaj, vse je kot paper, ne vem, vedno grem na francosko, naglasim francosko, zato ker je bil učencev Piažeja, ne, njegov proteže je rekel, ne. Piažej je rekel, da paper je bil človek, ki me je najbolje razumel in mojo teorijo najboljše povezal naprej. To je pa skoraj vse, kar vemo njega, ker nas na faksu niso kaj dosti učili o psihologiji, pedagogiki in teh stvari, mi smo bili teoretični matematiki, to je bilo druga stvar, ne, da učimo številke. Zakaj je pomemben? Zanimivo je, da je umrl pred mesecem in pol, ne. On je boter imena Mindstorms. Ne vem, če veste, leta 1980 je napisal eno knjigo, Mindstorms, otroci, razmišljanje, močno razmišljanje, power thinking. Genij, rojen v Južni Afriki, končal je psihologijo in doktorat matematike naredil v Južni Afriki, potem je v Cambridgeu naredil še doktorat iz matematike, potoval na okoli po svetu, poučeval na pomembnih šolah, dokler ga niso zagrabili na mitu, kjer je preživel do konca svojega življenja in stalno iskal načine, kako bi učenje približal k temu, da bi res dal tiste najboljše rezultate. In oče programskega jezika Logos, za njega ste zaslišali, in v resnici razvijalec Legotovega programa robotike. Začelo se je z RCX-om leta nazaj, potem je prišel Next in zdaj je ta tretja verzija EVA 3. Skratka, on je v bistvu človek, ki je omogočil, da se danes s temi stvarmi igramo in učimo. Teorija konstruktivizma, to že veste, learn by doing, skratka, toliko, da se mu poklonimo, če že njegovo ime uporabljamo kar dosti po svetu. Zakaj učenje skozi igro? Mogoče to najboljši stavek, nekje na internetu sem ga najdel, ne? Ene izmed nalog, ko začnemo delati z otroci, ponavadi nam damo eno serijo kock in rečemo, zgradite čim višji stolp. In oni to gradijo, ne? Tle je primirek, ker sem ga danes zjutraj, to je 5 zjutraj slikano, ne, iz Kopra do Ljubljane, pa prej ni bilo časa, da sestavljate predstavitve, ne? In zanimivo v zgodbi je to, ne, da ko otrokom daš tako nalogo, ne samo otrokom, tudi vam, ne? Tudi vam, ko damo, da sestavite stolp in se razbije, ker pade, ne? Pač ne uspemo vedno, ne? Ni debatov, noben ne reče, to je pa pretežko zame, ne? Rečemo, a lahko še enkrat probamo. In mogoče, ne vem, če je na najbolj na mestu, ampak se bom navezal eno debato, ravno ko smo se ob zgodnjih jutrnih urah, ko se človek vozi v Ljubljano, ima žena vedno take pametne debate, ne, ker če ne ona spi, ko jaz vozim, ne bo še, da debatiramo. So se ravno pogovarjali o eni stvari, ki je mogoče osebno prišla, včeraj sem pripeljal svojega sina, je bil na enih pripravah pač matematičnih, po 3 dnevih priprav je prišel domov in je rekel, tata, to je bilo pa težko, skoraj nič nisem razumel, ful je bilo v začetku, ne? Pa je en izmed boljših matematikov svoje generacije v Sloveniji. Rad ima matematiko, sam se je pripravljal, ful se je učil. Ampak po 3 dnevih priprav ne ve več, če je to za njega. A ni žalostno? In sva se spraševala, videla sva se že pred 10 leti spraševala, a je mogoče, da bi tem otrokom pokazali, da to zna biti zabavno, da bi se igrali, da bi v tem uživali. In v bistvu so se pogovarjala, mi so to oba matematika, sva čudna familija, kaj ne vam rečem, so se pogovarjala, a bi mogoče teorijo števil, ki so jo delali, ne, zahtevno že zveni, a bi mogoče skozi igro prikazati. A bi bolj rekel, to je pa ful zanimivo. In mogoče je ena izmed rešitev in danes vam bomo to probali pokazati. Probali vam bomo pokazati, kje lahko v razredu uporabite ta orodja. In končni cilj je to, da otroci uživajo, da vi uživate, da niste več učitelji, da postanete mentori. To se pravi, da mogoče kdaj tudi priznate, kar je za učitelje ful težko, pač tudi zame, da so nas na določenih področjih prehiteli in znajo več od nas. In s tem orodjem te možnosti imajo. In če gre to skozi igro, je pa to še boljše. Zdaj, nekje na internetu, tukaj je ena povezava, če ste radi, lahko pogledate, je en zanimiv opis, kako robotiko uvesti nazaj v šolstvo, oziroma kako na kakšen način najlažje uvedete robotiko v šolstvo. In navedeni so 3 koncepti, kaj bi morali narediti, če bi hoteli robotiko uvesti v šole. Prvi je, poišči sistem podpore učiteljev, ki imajo izkušnje pri poučevanju z robotiko in jih vprašaj. In kar je zanimivo, ko sem se pripravljal za ta govor, včeraj ob 2 ponoči, to imate tukaj. Če boste začeli s tem delati, tisti, ki delate, že veste, ampak če boste s tem začeli delati, niste sami. Tle notri vas je 120. Slišali boste 5 odličnih predstavitev učitev, ki to že delajo. Karkoli rabite, niste sami. V veliki večini, če začenjate, boste naleteli do problema, do katerega je nekdo med nami že prišel. Vprašajte, vam bomo pomagali. Se ni treba, da se učite na lastnih napakah. Učite se na naših napakah. Drugič, začnite z vajo ali konceptom, ki vam je poznan. Tole bomo danes naredili. Začetniki, pač moj point je na unih, ki jih začenjate. Pokazali vam bomo, kako lahko pridete v razred in to naredite. Brez nekih hudih, kaj se moram pripraviti, kaj moram znati. Danes ste tukaj zato. In tisti, ki ste malo boljši, upam, da vam bodo naši predavatelji uspeli pokazati napredne koncepte, kako lahko pri določenih predmetih, matematika, fizika, likovna, uporabite to takoj, to orodje takoj pri pouku. In to je cilj. In tretjič, tukaj imamo sicer gospoda Žitnika, pa so mi rekli, da je malo ravnateljev tukaj, ne? Izjemno pomembna stvar. Pokažite ravnateljem, kaj delate z otroci. Ne jim povedati. Beseda ne odtehta, ljudje smo vizualna bitja. Pokažite, ker ko bodo videli otroke, ko bodo videli te otroke, kako delajo, kaj bodo potegnili ven iz sebe, jim ne bo prišlo več stavek, ja veste, ampak to pa toliko košta, toliko drago je, ne? Ampak pokažite, ne povedati. Beseda ni dovolj. Zdaj, še zadnja minuta. Danes je fokus na robotiki. Ampak Lego Education ima dosti več orodij, imate kataloge, lahko si jih pogledate, tole je opis. Jaz bom šel kaj dosti skozi, gledam to, da smo robotiki, mogoče samo to. Mindstorm Saver 3 je za, dajmo reči, 5. razred navzgor. Od 1. do 4. razreda je orodje Windows 2.0. In za vse, ki ga imate, za vse, ki ga nimate od torka, to je zdaj čisto nova novica, od tega torka, 2 dni nazaj, je prišla podpora za Windows 10 in lahko vam povem, da dela. Smo testirali, do zdaj smo imeli hude probleme, Windows 10 podpora, Andrej, torek je prišlo in dela, ti povem. Na 2 računalnikih smo sprobali in ne rabiš posebnega ključka, to je dobro. Tako da, prišlo je ven. Ostalo orodja, če vas bo zanimalo, imate tukaj Medejo, imate tukaj Majo, vprašajte jih, recimo More to Math, matematiki učitelji, od 1. do 4. razreda. Poglejte si. Vrhunsko. Kako izgleda? In potem pogledamo en desktop našega računalnika, ki ga uporabljamo, ne? To je samo za to. To so vsa Lego orodja naložena, še ta stara gor, ne? Maja, to imamo vse mi, veš. Tako da, ok. Evo, to je to. Že tako smo s časom, jaz bom zdaj povabil Samuela, jaz ga bom prevajal. Zdaj, mogoče to vprašanje, a rabite prevod? Torej, načeloma ga bomo naredili. Jaz bom probal malo skrajšati, da njemu damo besedo. Samuel prihaja iz Bostona, študira, dela, vse, kaj več povedal o sebi. Jaz bom predal tole, ta čas, dokler to delamo, lahko, se ni treba pisati, kaj dosti, no? Ampak on bo pripravil svojo predstavitev. Hvala, upam, da se boste zabavali. In upam, da boste najdli nekaj, kar boste lahko takoj uporabili v razredu, ker to je edino pomembno. Hvala.
Mateos. Dobro jutro. That's the extent of my Slovenian, so bear with me. So good morning. After I think I've been introduced twice, I'll go ahead and introduce myself a third time, assuming this comes up and works.
You have to wait.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. So good morning. I'm Sam Wolf. I'm a researcher over in Boston at the Center for Engineering Education and Outreach. And I'll be talking to you today a little bit about sort of my thoughts on the subject of engineering education and hands-on learning in LEGO robotics. And while I'm speaking, Mateos will be live translating back and forth what I'm saying to ensure that everybody can understand me. So bear with us and enjoy.
Sem se predstavil, to ni nekaj dosti in pač razložil svoj pogled, kako vključiti robotiko v razred. Dajmo, zapravo si ga dovolj.
Great. So a little bit of background. So Tufts University is in the northeast part of the United States, just outside Boston. And we're a small school of about 5,000 students.
Vidite, kje je univerza Taft? V Massachusetts, pri malo iz Bostona, 5,000 študentov, relativno majhna univerza.
And of the things we do well, we do a great job of engineering and education. And that's where my interest lies, in the connection between the two.
Predvsem pa smo močni na dveh področjih, inženirstvo in izobraževanje, in moja naloga, moje zanimanje na združevanju teh dveh.
And especially as my background before this role, I was working as a mechanical engineer, and I love the idea of bringing on the hands-on elements and the problem solving from the mechanical engineering world into the classroom.
In moj background, skratka moje zadnje delo sem kot strojni inženir in vedno me je zanimalo, kako bi lahko združil in prinesel to delo z stvarmi nazaj v izobraževanje.
And the center does a similar thing where we're about 40 people, half engineers and half education specialists, working to put technologies and curriculum in classrooms. And so today, throughout the rest of this presentation, I'll give you guys a peek of the things that we're thinking about, and I'd be eager to hear how it lines up with what you guys all think, and sort of the new things that inspire you.
V našem centru nas dela nekje 40-20 inženirjev, 20 pedagogov in pokazal bom nekatere stvari, o katerih razmišljamo in zanima me, kako vi o tem razmišljate in kaj bi lahko vi tudi uporabili.
Great. So to start off, I'd like to take a snapshot and a look at classrooms of the past. And so this next image, I just went to Google search and Googled classrooms of the past. And
tako je izgledal razred v preteklosti.
And so a few things jump out to me that I don't actually like so much. So maybe 40 or 50 years ago, the first thing is looking at the teacher. It looks like it's a lot of one-way communication, where the teacher is speaking directly to the students.
Prva stvar, ki mi pade tako v pogled, je ta, da je tukaj očitno zelo veliko delovanja učitelja samo enostavne komunikacije, učitelj razlaga učencem.
And second, you can see how the students respond to that. I mean, I see one who's kind of falling asleep, a couple who are on their hands. No one looks very engaged.
In če pogledamo učence, vidimo, da nihče med njimi ne izgleda zelo zainteresirano.
And third, look at the desks that they're on. They're these small squares. They barely have enough room for one piece of paper. And even more than that, they're separated from everyone else. There's a physical barrier between the students, preventing collaboration.
In kot tretje, klopi so zelo majhne, na njih je komaj dovolj mesta za en list papirja in še med sabo so ločene. Zelo so vsi osamljeni.
And finally, it looks like this lesson is a lot of regurgitation and memorization.
In še zadnja stvar izgleda, da je tukaj dosti učenja in učenja na pamet.
And so throughout today, we're going to be talking about things to inspire the students, sort of to change this classroom. So I want in your minds to think about, like, what do you think a modern classroom should look like? What do you think a classroom of the future should look like?
Skratka, danes pa smo pogovarjali o tem, kako bi navdušili za delo te učence in zato bi prosil, da si probate v glavi zamisliti, kako naj izgleda razred v prihodnosti, kako po vaše izgleda razred prihodnosti.
And so to compare, I did the same thing. Went on Google, put in classroom of the future. And unfortunately, it looks kind of the same.
In ko sem to na Google probal poiskati, skratka, iskal sem razred prihodnosti, sem dobil tole sliko. In ne boste verjeli, izgleda precej podobno.
I mean, now I guess we have a lot more technology. There's a big screen up in front, and each student has their own computer, but there's not that much different going on.
Ja, tehnologije je polno, vsak učenec ima svoj ekran, nove table, vse, ampak drugače pa zgleda popolnoma enako.
The one thing that I do like is now at least there's 2 students per desk, so you know that they must have to interact and chat and collaborate with each other.
Dobro, mogoče zgleda, da pogledajte, za vsako mizo sedita 2 študenta, to se pravi, da mogoče se malo več pogovarja, da je malo več sodelovanja.
And so, but that being said, I think technology is a very powerful tool for the classroom if used with some thought, so in order to actually think about what you're putting in the classroom.
Verjamem, da je tehnologija izjemno močno orodje za delo v razredu.
And here's just a couple examples of technology in the classroom. There's the typical example of putting a laptop in students' hands on the left here.
Se pravi, tukaj je nekaj primerov uporabe tehnologije v razredu, na levi vidite uporabo prenosnikov v razredu.
Though I like this a little bit better, because at least there's 3 students for 1 laptop, so they're forced to talk and brush shoulders and share and learn from each other.
Sicer ta slika mi je kar všeč zato, ker zgleda, da 3 otroci delajo na en računalnik, to se pravi, da se morajo med sabo malo premikati, pogovarjati, kregati.
And in the center, quickly, it's just the idea of maybe mobile technology, each student having their own device and following along with a lecture or a teacher.
Na drugi sliki je uporaba mobilnih tehnologij, v razredu skratka vsak učenec ima svojo napravo in sledi predavanju.
And finally, is what we'll talk a lot about today, is educational robotics and Lego robotics.
In zadnja slika je tisto, o čemer smo danes največ pogovarjali, torej roboti v izobraževanju in Lego robotika.
And so when I start to think about my research interests and the interests of the center where I work, we sort of split technology into 3 categories that we look at: creativity, collaboration, and documentation.
Tam, kjer jaz delam, razmišljamo o tehnologiji in v tem razmišljanju delimo tehnologijo na 3 področje. Eno je kreativnost, drugo je dokumentacija študentovega dela in tretje je sodelovanje.
And so when we put a technology in the classroom, we ask, does this promote creativity, specifically in subjects like science and math that traditionally we ask our students to get to one answer as opposed to a diversity of solutions?
In ko damo tehnologijo v razred, se vedno vprašamo, ali podpira kaj to kreativnost študentov, ker še posebej v naravoslovni tehnologiji vemo, da je ponavadi en sam točen odgovor in ali to podpira kreativnost.
And so the second is documentation, where once we're asking students to make more creative projects, how do we take a snapshot of that?
Drugo je dokumentacija. Recimo, ko zaprosimo študente, da naredijo bolj kreativen izdelek, kako to shranimo, kako to oni slikajo, posnamejo, delijo.
And I think we actually do a good job in most classrooms of documenting the final product, but there's so much more to that. How can we start to document the process? How can we start to see the problems that the students have while they're seeing it and be able to focus on a student's mind that way?
Ja, mislim, da že precej dobro delamo dokumentacijo končnega izdelka, ampak dosti bolj kot dokumentacija končnega izdelka nas zanima pot do tega izdelka, kako učenec razmišlja, kaj razmišlja. Ta dokumentacija nas zanima.
And the final part, which is my favorite piece, is this idea of collaboration. How can we make our students the experts on each thing, so then the students start to teach each other, and the teacher fills in more a mentorship role of guiding the class?
In tretji kos, ki je meni najljubši, je ta, kako bi učenci, ki s tem postanejo eksperti na področju, to svoje znanje začeli uporabljati in ga deliti med sabo in da na ta način učitelju omogoči, da ni več učitelj, ampak bolj mentor.
Great, and so as we think about all of these technologies, we often talk about the term in the US called STEM.
Ko se pogovarjamo o tehnologiji, v ZDA uporabljamo besedico STEM, ki je sestavljena iz teh 4 besed.
Yeah, which is a very simple term. All it stands for is science, technology, engineering, and math. And we believe that as soon as we start to put these ideas and these educational concepts in the classroom, then we immediately start to have our students become problem solvers and self-motivated learners.
Skratka, te 4 besede sestavljajo to, v slovenščini nimamo pač tako lepega akronima, da bi ga tako sestavili, ampak ideja je ta, da to vstavimo v razred, se vedno začnemo spraševati, kako bi kreativnost učencev na ta način spodbujali.
Great, so now let's start to look at a few examples of how this works and how this is implemented in the classroom, and the things we like and the things we don't like.
Poglejmo, kako torej to vključimo v razred in poglejmo stvari, ki so nam všeč in ki nam niso všeč.
Yeah, so this is actually my motivation slide. Basically, I get motivated when I see our students becoming demotivated.
Skratka, to je slajd, ki mene motivira. Mene motivira to, da vidim, da so učenci postali nemotivirani.
when you see students that look like this, so many questions come up. How can we excite these students? What tools can we put into the classroom that changes the way they look and the way they see the world?
Ko vidim tako sliko nezainteresiranega študenta, se mi v glavi vedno porodi vprašanje, kaj lahko naredimo, na kakšen način lahko te študente, učence zainteresiramo, da postanejo navdušeni nad tem, kar delajo.
And so there's many great tools for this, but one of my favorite, and what we work on a lot in the classroom with the center, is Lego.
Zato obstaja seveda mnogo dobrih orodij, ampak eno izmed naših najbolj priljubljenih in s tem delamo tudi dosti, je Lego.
And Lego is a great tool because often as soon as you put this hands-on material in front of a student, you can see them perk up. And then you can use that excitement in order to teach the things you want to teach them and spread out the possibilities.
Lego je tako dobro orodje, da je zato, ker ko ga postavimo pred učence, vidimo, kako se jih zasvetijo oči, kako so na tem navdušeni in to navdušenje lahko potem uporabimo za to, da z njim pomagamo učiti te stvari.
And so let's talk about a few examples here. This is what I like to do when I start teaching with young students, maybe 5-year-olds or 6-year-olds.
Poglejmo nekaj primerov, to je en, ki ga uporabim, ko delam z 5 do 6 let starimi.
And so the example here is, all that I'll do is hand the students a set of Lego blocks and ask them, can you build me a sturdy wall?
Dam jim neko množico kock in jih prosim, da jim rečem, ali mi lahko zgradite trden zid.
And as they're building, I'll walk around and become the cruel teacher and just impose the flick test, where I'll come up to their walls while they're building and actually flick them and see if the walls can handle the flick.
In ko oni to gradijo, se jaz prehajam med njimi in postanem zlobni učitelj, probam seveda porušiti z udarcem ta zid.
And so this is great, and what usually happens is students who build their walls like the wall on the left, where it's just individual bricks and columns, that wall usually gets completely knocked over.
In kar je zanimivo je, da učenci, ki naredijo tak zid, kot je ta na levi, ker kocke zlagajo ena na drugo, se pod mojim udarcem ta zid ponavadi popolnoma raztrešči.
And what always happens is the students see that, and then they ask themselves, what can I do differently? How can I build a better wall? And you get to watch the students iterate upon their design, brainstorming a little bit, and coming up with new designs.
In ko se to zgodi, se učenec začne ponovadi spraševati, to se je razvilo, kaj lahko naredim, da izboljšam moj dizajn, in začne razmišljati o tem, kako bi to naredil, in potem lahko gledam, kako nastaja ideja za nov, trdnejši dizajn.
And finally, often students come to the wall on the right, where you have overlapping bricks. And this is a much stronger wall, and my fingers end up hurting after the flick test, because these don't get knocked over.
In ponavadi na koncu končajo pri tem samplu, ki ga vidite na desni, tukaj se kocki med sabo prepletajo in ta zid ponavadi moj udarec drži.
And this here is my favorite kind of learning, because when you're watching the students, this isn't me as a lecturer telling them, here's how you build a sturdy wall. Instead, this is self-discovery and self-motivated learning.
In to je moj najljubši način učenja, kajti nisem jaz tisti, ki mi reče, glejte, tako zgradite trden zid, ampak se učenci učijo na svojih lastnih izkušnjah.
And at the end of the day, I want to make it clear, I don't really care whether our students know how to build a sturdy wall out of Legos. What I care about is that mental thought process, that process of designing and iterating and redesigning and testing.
In na koncu v resnici me ne zanima končni izdelek. Zanima me, oziroma pomembno mi je, da so osvojili ta mentalni preskok, da probajo in gradijo nove stvari.
And if we can start to instill that in our students at a young age, with easy activities like this, they'll start to apply that throughout their life as they continue to learn and live.
In če to uspemo, če v njih uspemo vcepiti ta način razmišljanja, že ko so mladi, bo ta način razmišljanja jih spremljal tudi, ko bodo starejši.
And it's great because this medium can be applied in so many ways. Like here's an example that I always teach the students when I'm asking them to start thinking about math concepts.
Tukaj je primer, ki ga uporabljam, ko učencem razlagam in jih učim o konceptih v matematiki.
And what's great is you can just ask the simple question, hey, when I turn this gear on the right, one rotation, how many rotations on the left is this gear going to turn?
In vprašanje, ki ga postavim je, če naredim eno rotacijo kolesa na desni, za koliko rotacij se bo zavrtelo veliko kolo na levi?
And this is great, because even to me, for someone who's seen this many times, it's not quite intuitive how many times this gear is going to turn. So you get the students to start to think about multiplication and division and ratios as they start to answer that question.
In če dobro pogledate, tudi meni samemu ni popolnoma jasno v tem trenutku, koliko se zgodi, ne? Ampak takoj, ko o tem začnejo razmišljati, je takoj tukaj seštevanje, množenje, deljenje in razmerja.
And my favorite part about this is the feedback the students get. Because it's unlike a worksheet where the students solve a problem and then they need it to be graded and then finally they get the feedback. With this, the students can make a prediction and then play with the real world to get an answer on their solution.
In najbolj zanimiv pri tej stvari je feedback, se pravi njihov odgovor oziroma njihovi, zakaj? Zato, ker oni lahko predvidijo, kaj se bo zgodilo, dajo svoje predvidevanje, potem pa v življenju, v realni možnosti preverijo in ugotovijo, ali so imeli prav ali ne.
And what's wonderful about this is then you get students to start thinking about that process that I was talking before. When their prediction doesn't line up with the real world, they start asking themselves the question, why? And then go through that whole process of iterating to answer that question.
In najlepša stvar je ta miselni proces, ki se tukaj pojavi. Če njihova predikcija ne ustreza realnemu svetu, se začnejo spraševati, zakaj? In začnejo gledati, kako lahko te dve stvari uskladijo.
And so I want to make it clear that there's all these fantastic things that we can think about and use Lego for, but at the end of the day, Lego is a tool, a fantastic tool, but it's the ideas here that matter. And so no matter what resources you have in your classroom, maybe try to use these ideas with your students.
In vendar pa bi rad poudaril še to, Lego je sicer odlično orodje, vendar pa ne glede na to, kakšne resurse imate, najbolj pomembna stvar so ideje in ne glede na to, kakšne imate, jih vedno lahko uporabite v razredu.
So whatever you have on hand, whether it's Lego or cardboard and tape, really any material can be used to start to think about this.
Skratka, ne glede na to, kateri material imate pri roki, ali imate Lego, ali imate papir in to, vedno lahko začnete razmišljati o teh idejah.
And so I want to think back on the awesome demo that Mateus did a few minutes ago when we started thinking about the duck.
In tukaj bi se rad vrnil nazaj na tisto razmišljanje, ki smo ga delili prej, ko smo se igrali z račkami.
And the question I'm going to ask is, I saw almost 100 different designs, and the design I am about to show you, I don't think anybody made, and I'm asking the question, why? Why didn't anybody make this design?
Ko sem pogledal, sem videl več kot 100 različnih rac, ampak zdaj bom pokazal pa dizajn, ki ga nisem videl. In moje vprašanje je, zakaj tega dizajna nisem videl?
And so it looks like this. And so the same question, why didn't anybody make this design?
Torej, zgleda takole in moje vprašanje je, zakaj nihče tega dizajna ni naredil.
And I think it has to do with history and our history and how we are introduced to a building block like this. Like even me, when I was growing up, I learned that Legos were built in one direction.
In mislim, da je to vezano na našo zgodovino grajenja z Lego kockami. Ne? Tudi mene so učili, da se Lego zgradi pač od spodaj na vzgor z stadi otvorenimi na zgor.
And I like this because it brings up the topic of constraints. As teachers, we're constantly putting constraints on a problem and asking our students to solve that problem. But the real question is, what are the constraints that are real constraints and you have to follow, and what are the constraints that are arbitrary and you don't actually need to follow them?
In zakaj mi je to tudi tako všeč? Ker se ukvarja z omejitvami. In moramo se vprašati, katere so tiste resnične omejitve, katere pa so tiste, ki si jih lahko odmislimo in delamo brez njih.
Yeah, and so with this duck, we gave you guys all constraints. We gave you a time constraint. You had about a minute. We gave you a resource constraint. You only had 6 yellow and red blocks to create. With a personnel constraint, you only had one person, or maybe you chatted with your neighbors. And we didn't even give you a budget.
In potem tukaj vidimo nekatere tipične omejitve, ki jih imamo. Časovne, opreme, osebne, finančne.
And you guys all came up with fantastic ducks. And I think from this I learned that the Slovenian duck looks pretty similar to the American duck.
In vsi ste prišli s fantastičnimi racami in naučil sem se, da so slovenske race zelo podobne ameriškim.
But here's where I want to think about how we can push our students in different directions, where you guys all came up with one solution, your first solution, but that creative space that was defined by our constraints is much larger than just that one duck.
Ampak rad bi pa vas opozoril in vam pokazal, da v bistvu prostor, preslište do dobrih rešitev, ampak prostor omejitev, v katerem ste delali, je dosti širši, kot je samo mesto za to eno samo raco.
So how can we inspire our students to, after they come up with that first example or first solution, how can we inspire them to push that creative space? Because I think it's really in the corners and edges of this creative space that awesome things start happening.
Torej, vprašanje je, ko naredimo ta prvi dizajn, na kakšen način lahko naše učence potisnemo proti mejam omejitev, ker resnično verjamem, da so te odlični vrhunski dizajni točno nekje na mejah.
And so we, as educators and teachers, want to give our students the tools and the inspiration to have them push that creative space a little bit. And it turns out that Lego robotics is a fantastic tool to explore that space.
Torej, kot učitelji iščemo načine, kako lahko učence potisnemo do meja teh omejitev. In izkazalo se je, da so Lego Education orodja izjemno uspešna in uporabna na tem področju.
Because now, as we move past the traditional bricks and add a computer, add sensors, add motors, and the ability to customize and program your robot, it really opens up all the possibilities.
Kajti sedaj, ko iz navadnih kock prehajamo na pametno kocko, senzorje, motorje, se kar naenkrat odpira neverjetno veliko bolje možnosti.
And in the first couple of slides with that classroom of the future, I was a little bit angry at technology. But there's some times when technology is fantastic, especially with robotics. Building a robot 30 years ago required you to be an expert in 3 or 4 different fields.
Z nekaterimi področji tehnologije sicer ki mi niso bila vedno všeč, ampak v resnici na področju robotike so se stvari res dobro razvile. Pred 20 leti, če si hotel narediti robota, si mogel biti res strokovnjak na mnogih področjih.
But now with new technology and things like Lego robotics, you can have your students think about those design challenges not in a lifetime, but maybe in a class period or a week or a month.
Zdaj pa s temi novimi orodji, predvsem recimo tudi z uporabo Lego robotike, pa lahko učenci o dizajnu robota razmišljajo kar v času ene šolske ure.
And so now let's look at some fun examples to explore how exactly we start to teach STEM in the classroom. That's science, technology, engineering, math, and really engage our students.
Tukaj imamo nekaj primerov, kako lahko najdemo modele, s katerimi res potisnemo učence, da raziskujejo to področje STEM-a.
And so in this example, this was actually from a biology class. The teacher was teaching a segment on plants and flowers and posed to the class, hey, can you build me a robot that emulates a flower and the motion of a flower?
Torej, recimo primer iz ure biologije. Učitelj je rekel, učili so se o rastlinah in je rekel učitelj učencem, a mi lahko zgradite model, robotski model, ki bi ponazoril gibanje cveta.
And so you could imagine a student maybe making a flower that opened up in the morning when it became light and the sun came up. Instead, this student decided to make a Venus flytrap, and whenever an animal comes, it goes, wow, and actually tries to grab the fly or animal.
Recimo, verjetno si lahko predstavljate, da so eni učenci naredili rožico, ki se odpre zjutraj in pogleda sonček. Tukaj pa en učenec naredil mesojedo rožo, ki pač, ko vidi plen, se zapre in ga zagrabi.
And look at this is great. There's definitely technology. They're starting to play with those motors and sensors. There's definitely engineering. The students had to come up with a design and actually make that and have it work in the real world. But finally, they also get the students to start to think about science, you know? Now the students have a clear example of flowers, which we traditionally think as these static objects, actually can move and interact with the world.
In ko vidite, to združi en kup enih področij, ne? Imamo mehaniko, imamo inženirstvo, ker bo treba to narediti, predvsem pa to spravi rastlino v smer znanosti, ker kar naenkrat ne razmišljamo več o rastlini kot o statičnem objektu, ampak kot o eni stvari, ki se giblje in deluje.
And so there's many different ways we can look at this. This is an example of another design challenge we would do with students, where all we did was put a piece of white tape on the ground in a circle and put a fair amount of candy in the middle, and then ask our students to make robots that would go and push as much candy as they could outside of the circle.
To je še en primer uporabe, ki smo naredili z učenci. Naredili smo bomo rekli, zaključen z belim selotejpom, notri smo dali bombone in prosili učence, da zgradijo robote, ki bodo iz kroga, dajmo reči, da je to krog, potegnili čim več bombonov.
And this turned out fantastically because with that simple prompt, students were so eager to get in groups and actually build the solutions to this. I mean, they were inspired by the prompt, they were inspired by the technology, they were also probably a bit inspired by the sugar.
In izkazalo, da se na to izjemno zanimiva naloga, ker so se učenci takoj povezali v skupine in hoteli narediti čim robota, ki bi na več področjih to delal, predvsem pa mislim, da bo to tudi zaradi teh bombončkov.
And so I like to look at the students' designs and see that this is a good exercise. But as the evaluator, I have one big question, and this comes with the diversity of solutions you see.
Vedno rad gledam študentske dizajne in sprašujem, kako in kaj so naredili, ampak na koncu se pa postavi vprašanje in to je vezano na različnost teh rešitev.
And so even though there's a lot of good engineering work being done here, it appears that creative space is actually pretty small for this prompt. Everybody's robot kind of looks the same. They're just cars with a couple wheels with motors, and they all have just a square cloud in the front of it.
Vsi roboti, če dobro pogledate, izgledajo, kljub temu, da bi lahko drugače različno izgledajo, precej enako. Vsi so pač običajni roboti, ki se vozijo, od sprednji imajo pa nekaj kvadratnega, kar lovi te bombone.
And so it's fantastic to think as a teacher about what prompts really promote creativity and promote a diversity of solutions. And one that I always love, that always is successful here, is asking students to each make their own robotic animal.
In v bistvu nas, kot me očitno naredno zanima, katere naloge spodbujajo kreativnost v učencih. In ena izmed teh nalog je, da rečem učencem, da naredijo pač vsak svojega živalskega robota.
And this is great. I mean, you can see the wonderful solutions that all the students made for this question. And it gets them to start thinking about really interesting questions, like what makes an animal unique? What are the motions, the sounds, the shapes, the sizes, the color that really define your animal?
Tukaj pa vidimo več različnih rešitev in mislim, da je to dobro vprašanje, ker v učencih spodbudi idejo, da začnejo razmišljati o tem, kaj je edinstvenega za te živali, kakšno gibanje je, katere barve, skratka, kaj naredi te živali edinstvene.
And even in addition to that, this brings up really interesting engineering challenges. You know, like look at the penguin. Imagine all of the motors and gears that go into actually making a penguin using motors that shuffles like this. It's a difficult problem, but it's a problem that's motivated by the students, not motivated by the teacher.
In recimo, če pogledamo pingvina tukaj, Žan, si videl, je zelo zanimiv, mislim, zato, ker imaš ti pingvina, ker tipkaš tam, koliko inženirstva mora biti tem pingvinu, da se uspe gibati kot pingvin. In predvsem je zanimivo zato, ker to ni učiteljevo, ni bil to učitelju namik, ampak so učenci prišli do tega problema.
I guess I'll need someone to translate all of Matej's jokes for me. So someone take
Jean's FLL team has a penguin like a mascot, so that's why I asked him.
Perfect.
Jean ima pingvina za maskoto, ne pa pol.
Great. And so, I love this idea of a diversity of solutions. So, think about what we can add to our engineering challenges or activities that really promote that. And one of the things that really promotes that is adding an extra letter to the idea of STEM that I talked about before, which is A for arts.
Kar mi je zelo všeč, je iskanje, so tisti problemi, ki res iščejo to različne rešitve. In zanimivo je, da to lahko najlepše rešimo tako, da to besedo s tem dodamo črko A za umetnost.
And when you think about arts, on one hand, think about it like the fine arts, like painting and design and music and dance, but also think about it like the liberal arts. How can we include history and psychology and sociology in our prompts?
In ko govorimo o umetnosti, ponavadi razmišljamo o teh finih umetnosti, kot so risanje, glasba in podobne stvari, ampak če pa še gledamo na umetnost malo širše, pa so to lahko tudi psihologija in ostale, zgodovina in ostale dele.
And so one of my favorite activities that we do with this is ask our students to make full puppet shows.
In ena izmed mojih najljubših aktivnosti je to, da učence prosimo, da naredijo lutkovno predstavo, kompletno lutkovno predstavo.
And this is great because you can definitely imagine the technology side of things. They're building these robotic puppets, but there's also the writing side of things, the reading, the literacy, as we ask our students to make a full puppet show and actually perform it.
In verjetno vidite, da je tukaj najprej sigurno dosti inženirstva, je pa tudi dosti drugih umetnosti, ki jih moramo uporabiti, ker morajo učenci narediti kompletno lutkovno predstavo.
And I love the creative solutions. I mean, on the top left, someone just made robotic sock puppets. On the bottom left, we had a couple students make full marionette puppets with strings. But my favorite is the story about these two girls on the bottom right.
Pač tukaj vidite nekaj rešitev, ene so te lutke v rokavicah in zato, ampak moji najljubši rešitvi pa sta ti dve rešitvi pri teh puncah.
And so these girls, before the assignment, didn't really think about themselves as scientists or engineers, but when given this prompt that involved a lot of creativity and a lot of the arts, they dove in and actually chose to make a very complicated puppet system of shadow puppets, where they have a flashlight and they're moving puppets and a screen behind it to have the show.
Ti dve punci na začetku niste razmišljali kot inženirki, ampak ste razmišljali kot umetniško nalogo in odločili ste se, da boste naredili te, bomo rekli, lutke s pomočjo sence. Pač bila je ena luč, izvor luči in z rokami sta delali sence, ki so potem se projicirale na platno.
And so this was fantastic because they came up with this idea themselves. It was now their idea, and they had the motivation to get past those so many technical hurdles that they ran into in order to make this system happen.
In najboljše pri vsem je bila, da je to njuna ideja in oni dve sta mogli iti čez vse prepreke v tehnologiji, in ker je bila to njuna ideja, sta se potrudili, da so vse te prepreke prišli, da sta svojo idejo v bistvu realizirali.
And this is great. And again, similarly, because that they came up with these technical problems themselves, they had the motivation to solve it themselves. And they ended up putting on an awesome show, and I think truly felt different about themselves when they compared themselves to engineers or scientists.
In zanimivo je bilo to, ker sta te probleme sami si zastavili, sta jih sami morali tudi rešiti. In to jim je dalo še, bom rekel, toliko boljšo držo in sta bili ful ponosni, ko sta to pokazala svojim kolegom.
And so this next robot is an interesting robot, but it also comes with a warning. We asked our students to build and design a robot that would actually create art.
Ta robot je tudi zanimiv, ima seveda nekaj opozoril zraven, ampak prišli smo do, to je naloga, ko smo študentom zadali nalogo, da naredijo robota, ki bo delal umetnost.
And so when I show this robot to people, the question that always comes up is, what is the content here? Like, as an observer, you can kind of see the geometry here. You can see the circles and radii and diameters and angles.
Ko ta posnetek kažem, pride vedno vprašanje, kaj pa je vsebina tega? Ja, lahko vidite neke geometrijske like, neke stvari, ki se dogajajo.
But the real question is, were those the things the students thought about while they were building this? Or is that after the fact as a teacher trying to justify the math part of this?
Ampak vprašanje je, ali so to stvari, o katerih so študenti oziroma otroci razmišljali, ko so to delali, ali je to samo odgovor na, ali je to prišlo naknadno, ko je učitelj zahteval nekaj.
And so this is where the teacher assumes a very important role, and the teacher is the guide. Because you can imagine a setup where you spend one period actually building this exciting painting robot, and then pausing, going to math class, and then trying to analyze this robot and come up with mathematical solutions.
In tukaj pride točka, v kateri je učitelj izjemno pomemben. Zakaj? Na začetku porabite toliko časa, da jih navdušite, da naredijo tega robota, in potem pa greste v razred za matematiko in probate analizirati njegovo delovanje in njegove rezultate.
And we truly risk here demotivating our students, because the last thing that we want is the students to leave class that day and think in their heads, robotics is so fun. I had such an exciting time building that robot, but then afterwards my teacher made me do math about it for a couple hours. I wish I could only focus on the robotics and not do the math.
In tukaj hitro pridemo do hudega problema. Ne želimo, da so naši otroci demotivirani. Kajti ne želimo, da razmišljajo, tako lepo sem se imel, gradil sem tako dobrega robota, potem sem pa s tem prišel na matematiko in mi je učitelj še eno uro porabil, da je govoril o matematiki. Ko bi lahko samo robota delal.
And so be sure as teachers to, when you're asking your students to do activities like this, that you incorporate the math into the design. Like, while they're building, ask them to change a radius and see how that affects the art. And ask them questions during the design to look at the math, just to ensure that the motivation inherent to these awesome robotics gets transferred to their motivation of math, instead of keeping them separate.
Torej, pazite, ko si zamišljate take aktivnosti, pazite, da matematične aktivnosti vključite že v zgodbo nastajanja. To se pravi, da jih že, ko sestavljajo robota, razmišljajo o radijih, o stvareh, ne pa potem kasneje dodajo tega.
And so, looking at a different aspect of these robotic activities, is what I like about a good prompt is that the prompt, the activity, will be able to meet the student where they are, not dependent on their experience or their age.
Skratka, kar mi je tudi všeč, da je aktivnost taka, ki sreča študenta v poziciji, kjer trenutno je, ne da je vezana na njegovo starost ali pa njegovo predznanje.
So you can imagine the simple prompt of making a line follower robot. And I've done this with 10-year-olds, I've done this with 15-year-olds, and I've done this with university students.
In tipičen primer, ki ga bom zdaj povedal, je sledenje črti in to je aktivnost, ki sem delal z 10, 15 ali pa 20-letniki.
And with the younger children, the 10-year-olds, you give them a very simple version of the prompt. You have them build a very simple robot comprised of just 2 wheels and 2 motors and 1 light sensor, and a simple algorithm that just says, when I'm on the line, turn away from the line, and when I'm off the line, turn back to the line.
Z 10-letniki začnemo na zelo lahek način. 2 motorja, en senzor in koncept algoritem je, ko sem na črti, grem stran od črte, ko sem stran od črte, grem proti črti.
And from that, the students are building successful, though kind of jerky line followers.
In preko tega procesa naredijo take ne najbolj zanesljive sledilce črti.
And so you can imagine taking that to an older student, like a high school student, maybe age 15, and giving them the prompt, but adding something to it. Maybe say, once your robot gets to a certain place, have it do an action.
Ko to nalogo damo malo starejši, ne po 15-letnim, ponavadi dodamo še eno aktivnost, to se pravi recimo konkretno, ko nekam pride robot, naj nekaj naredi.
And again, you can make the prompt even more complex if you have students with more experience. For example, you can take it to university students, and now you can really think about the math side of things and the algorithm side of things.
Isto nalogo pa lahko date tudi študentom na fakulteti, kjer pa lahko že resno razmišljate o matematičnem ozadju teh stvari in bolj kompleksnih stvarih.
And so instead of just making that simple bang-bang controller, you can start to have them think about proportional controllers and integrals and derivatives. And you can really make a robot that is very impressive to watch and follows the lines very well.
In ko delate to z študenti, lahko začnete razmišljati o pil algoritmih in podobnih stvarih, integralih in podobnih stvarih, in mislim, da boste danes to celo nekaj delali na Alenka. Ne integralov. No, because Alenka will do something like that. Se pravi, nekaj o tem boste delali te najizkušenejša verzija. Skratka, in potem se izgleda sledenje tega robota že kar impresivno.
And so, all these examples that I've talked about today are great because it's the ideas behind them that matter. You can come up with these prompts that cater to everything from young kids to much older kids.
Vse te ideje so zelo zanimive, predvsem zato, ker jih lahko potegnemo na časovno linijo vseh starosti.
And so, hopefully these are the ways that we can develop these activities to actually inspire our students and teach them things that aren't just applicable in the activity, but teach them ideas that will transfer outside of that activity to other parts of school, to other parts of their life, maybe even their job.
In upamo, da bomo lahko naredili aktivnosti, ki za študente in učence ne bodo pomembne samo v šoli, ampak tudi na drugih delih njihovega življenja, izven šole.
And so, we have a little time, so I'll show you one of my favorite examples. Just quickly, this is one of my favorite prompts where we ask all students to make robots that will actually blow bubbles.
To je ena izmed mojih najljubših aktivnosti, učenci morajo narediti robota, ki v bistvu dela milne mehurčke.
And you end up getting a huge diversity of solutions, especially because in order to fully do this prompt, you sort of need to grab other things from the classroom besides Lego. You need things to actually pick up the bubbles, you need some way to actually blow the bubbles. Like I love how a student grabbed a fan and incorporated that into their design.
In zanimivo je, ker tukaj res dobimo malo morje rešitev, predvsem pa je pomembno to, da morajo učenci uporabiti tudi ne Lego stvari, ki jih najdejo okoli sebe v razredu.
But my favorite part that this example brings up is an idea that I've been thinking about in my personal research, which is documentation.
Ena izmed stvari, ki je meni tukaj tudi zelo všeč, in to je ena izmed mojih najljubših, je dokumentiranje tega.
And so you can see in the video right now, there's a coat hanger that's actually attached to the robot, and that gets dipped back into the bubble dish and swung forward.
Na videu vidite en nosilček, ki je pritrjen na robota, ki se potopi v milnico.
And while this is beautiful right now and works every time seamlessly, that was not the case for the first couple dozen times they experimented.
In tukaj deluje brez napake, ampak v prvih nekaj 100 poskusih ni deloval tako.
By the end of this lesson, there was almost a trash heap of I guess trash is the wrong word. There was just a heap of all of their designs of different pieces of wires bent in different ways, and there was probably 15 or 20 different designs they went through.
Na koncu aktivnosti je za njimi ostalo najmanj 15 do 20 prototipov, ne moramo temu reči smeti, temu moramo reči prototipi, te ročke in dizajnov te ročke.
And here's where our documentation falls really short. And I think it does a disservice to us as educators looking back, and also a disservice to the students, because this wasn't like a 2-minute design that ended up working the first time. They spent over an hour trying to iterate and really focus and make this design work.
In tukaj mislim, da je bila velika pomanjkljivost dokumentacije, ker tukaj končna rešitev ni samo to, kar vidimo, ampak izjemno manjka ti koraki vmes, ki so pripeljali do dobre končne rešitve.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time thinking, what are the tools and systems we can put in place to actually make this documentation be a part of the entire process and not just at the end. So throughout the day, I would love your thoughts on this, because this is something that I'm focusing on. And it's not just a trivial solution. I mean, it's easy at the end during presentations to take pictures, but what systems can be put in place to have students actually document their work and document the key parts of their work?
In tukaj se postavi vprašanje, o katerem bi rad z vami še pogovoril tokom dneva. Kaj mislite, da bi bilo potrebno vključiti v sistem, da bi se te korake tokom celotne poti razvoja izdelka naredilo? Kajti mislim, da končni izdelek je premalo za to rešitev.
Because as a teacher or an evaluator, I almost care more about seeing my students struggle and seeing how they overcome their struggle. It's in those moments where I see our students walk into a problem, brainstorm a solution, and get past the problem, where I really feel like I get a snapshot of the student's mind and how they're learning, and whether they're taking these ideas like problem solving and iterating and taking them to heart.
Kajti kot učitelju mi je skoraj najbolj pomembno, da vidim, kako se spopadajo s problemi, ki jih imajo na poti. Ker ko vidim učence, ko pridejo do problema in vidim njihov način soočenja s problemom, njihov način reševanja problema, tisto je tisto, kar mene kot učitelja najbolj zanima.
Great, so that's about all the time that I have here today, but continue with the day. As you go through the rest of the day, make sure to have conversations with each other. I would love to have conversations with all of you. I've had a few conversations learning about the Slovenian system, and they've been fantastic. So take these thoughts and try to apply them to the workshops, and think about the workshops, and keep these ideas bouncing around all day and into the future.
Torej, to je moj sicer model, sem zdaj pri koncu, ampak to so ideje, o katerih bi želel, da razmislite, da se njih pogovorite. In videl sem, da imate v Sloveniji zelo dosti dobrih idej, bi pa želel, da še kaj vprašate, pogovarjate se med sabo in naj vam te ideje ostanejo v glavi tokom teh delavnic, ki boste delali.